Greetings, true believers, and welcome back to another new episode of Mutant Rejects. I am Dom, the leader of this reject hub. God, it's been a few weeks, and now all of a sudden I'm tongue-tied. Blah, 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 blah. And I am joined, as usual, by my wonderful, fabulous brother Phoenix. You gotta say something because it's gonna be a podcast too.
Oh, okay.
It's both.
Now I'm saying something.
Okay, now he said something. Thank you. And
I got jet lag.
We will have Kathy joining us soon, but we couldn't wait because we got another special, wonderful, amazing guest for another tribute to the Gifted podcast episode. The man who played Traitor in season 1, he started everything from Rampage, The Hate You Give, Venom. I mean, the man has done damn near everything. The wonderful, the talented D. James Jones. What's happening, my man? It's so good to have another mutant on the show.
Hey, man, I'm glad that we can finally make this thing work, man, and put this thing together, man. I sure enough appreciate you for letting me come on this show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the pleasure's all ours, man. We're honored. Like, we're just mutant rejects. You're a real-life mutant, so we bow to you. We always said that when we started the podcast and everything. Like, they're the mutants that got on the show. We're the rejects that come and do the podcast and clean up after them. You know?
Awesome, man.
So it's always great to have another an official mutant in the building. And we got a ton of stuff to talk about. And the one thing, and don't get me wrong, it's not a shock, but my wife said to me before when we were getting this interview together, did you know he was a model? And I was like, really? I couldn't believe.
Like, I mean, look at it.
I mean, of course, but you know so much about a dude. Like, I knew a lot of his history because we go back a little bit from social media and the Gifted, but I didn't know he was a model. I was like, okay, but how did you actually get discovered to end up becoming a model in the first place?
Wow, man. Goodness, that goes like way back to what, 93, 94, somewhere around there. You know, back during that time, man, they had like these model scout conventions and stuff. And so I went to one of the scouting events, you know, in my local city at the time. And, you know, I got picked to move on to the actual convention. And then once you go to the convention, man, it's like hundreds and hundreds of models. And then there are probably about anywhere from 50 to 100 agents and agencies and stuff there. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I did it. And the first one I went to, I had a little luck, but not really much. And then I went to another one. And I had got scouted by one agency at that time. And, you know, that was cool because like once you get scouted, you get an invite to the actual agency, wherever they're located and stuff. And that's like kind of like the tricky part because like at that point you have to pay your way, you know, to get there and stuff. And of course there were life things happening and I couldn't go. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to another one. So I went to another convention. Got scouted by 3 different agencies at the time. And then during that time, I was in the Army. And so I kind of could afford to go to the actual cities and stuff they were at to actually do the testing. And that's where you take pictures and you meet with the agents, they take your measurements and all this other stuff or whatever and see what type of like kind of like category they will put you in as far as modeling and stuff. So I did that. And you know, there was an agency in Chicago, one in Canada, and then one in Florida. So it was the agency down in Florida called Boom Model Management. You know, I was going to go with that agency, but at that time, you know, like I said, I was in the Army, so I was in Georgia, down in Fort Stewart, Georgia, which you know wasn't too far. But at that time, my mom became ill, and so I kind of like the Army allowed me to move home on a compassionate reassignment to be with her, you know, because it was, you know, during our final days and stuff. And so while I was there, I was able to go to a modeling agency in Columbus, Ohio called Z Models. Okay. And I went there and, you know, they signed me and everything. And I got to, you know, doing little, you know, small little fashion shows in Columbus. And then I did like had like a web campaign for my legs. And I had there was a few other things that I did, and so that's where it kind of started, and that's where it kind of started and ended at the same time. You know? I was like at that point, you know, as far as modeling, it was cool, and I was okay at it, but my body type, I cannot get down to like the really, really slim type, you know, sizes that they wanted me to be in and stuff. So I knew that my modeling would only be able to go so far. So I was just like, yeah, now I'm done, you know.
Right. I was hoping it was something that wasn't like I walked out of 7-Eleven and somebody said marvelous, and the next thing I knew. You see, I'm the opposite. I can try and I can't put on weight. Like I'm working out, I'm doing whatever, and I'm still looking like this.
Here, have some.
I know. You took it all from me. You got that side. I don't know. I'm too skinny. You're too fat. Put us together. We're perfect.
I'm the pretty one.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I don't know nothing about modeling. My mom, God love her, she used to tell me all the time I had a face for radio. So I figured I should ask that question when my wife brought it up. I was like, wow, I knew he was in the Army. I knew that kind of stuff, but I didn't know about modeling. That's crazy. I can see it though. You know, like I'm not saying one man to another. Like, yeah, he could be a model. Why not? All right. Why don't we let Phoenix ask the next question? Thank you so much. Let's keep this stuff rolling.
All right. Well, with Memorial Day coming up, what was it like to defend your country?
And thank you, by the way.
Yes, and do thank you. Only to be cut short by being diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
That's a
wow.
question.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me that one.
I'm sorry, it's just the way it went.
No, you know what? I wouldn't change it for anything in the world, man. You know, of course, doing 2 combat tours, one when OIF initially kicked off, so that was the initial invasion from Kuwait to Baghdad, and so the job that I had at that time, you know, had me to see a lot of death and destruction. So I am kind of, I kind of still go through some things or whatever, you know, mentally, you know, as far as with the PTSD and everything, but I wouldn't change my years of service for anything in the world, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like some of the relationships and the friendships and stuff that you made and you make during that time are some of the ones that last a lifetime. You know, they're not only friends and battle buddies, they become brothers, you know, and and it's just like that's how you take care of those relationships, and you have those relationships for the rest of your life. And you know, and I can also, my years in service and me being able to serve has allowed me to pretty much, you know, add a little bit of value on my life. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
absolutely.
You know, I wasn't not to say that those that don't serve or whatever aren't doing their part, but I can proudly say, and I have plaques and you know, the veterans card to say I did my part. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, definitely.
Because, there's so many people that want to, you know, they speak against the military, and it's like, I don't know why they're doing this, and I don't know why they're doing that, and they're sheep, and they're just followers, and this, that, and the other. But, you know, it allows you, our job and what we did and what we do allows you to have the liberties that you have today. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like that kind of like irks me to no end. Mm-hmm. But to answer your question, Phoenix, as far as like with the whole cancer thing, the cancer thing was kind of like a blessing in disguise, so to speak. And it's crazy why I say and how I say that, because like, you know, during my first enlistment, which I went in from 2004 to like 2005, I was enlisted, you know, and so I made the rank of sergeant, and sergeant promotable. And so when I was on my first deployment, me and one of my really close battle buddies, you know, all we talked about was becoming an officer, going to OCS, and you know, doing these things to be an officer. But I had gotten out with cancer. You know, I got diagnosed with cancer and had to end my enlisted term, you know, prematurely, because of course I still wanted to like make E6 or E7, be a drill sergeant, and you know, do all that wild and crazy, you know. And so it kind of cut my term short. However, during the time that I was my break in service, I was able to finish my degree. and I was able to get my barber's license. And so while I was finishing my degree, Walter Reed had found me fit for duty, and they was like, well, you can come in as, you know, you can come in and get your E6, or we can just release you from retirement, because I was medically retired, and we could just release you from retirement. And I was like, well, you know, go ahead and release me, because I was in school. So I went on and went the ROTC route, and I came back in as an officer in 2009, you know what I'm saying? And then I served till 2013, and just kind of, you know, was just not really feeling the Army anymore, and just, you know, was like, I gotta go. I had made the rank of captain, which was one of the things that, you know, me and my battle buddy had said, you know, to be an officer, to be a company commander. I didn't get to do command, but I made the rank of captain, and I was like, you know what, that was my goal, and I accomplished that goal. So, you know.
See, now anybody that watched Rampage, he didn't just play Captain James. He is Captain James. Captain James Jones.
Rampage, it was actually Captain Evans.
Oh, was it Captain Evans? I could have swore it was Captain. I'm sorry. But he didn't just play a captain. He is a captain. So next time. and by the way, you will never hear us badmouth the armed forces. I mean, he was in the Navy. I'm a Marines reject. I tried to enlist after football, and they were like, what's wrong with that leg? And when I finally explained everything, they went, nah. I was like, I could shoot and swim like a fish. Come on.
And technically, I'm a Navy reject too.
Technically, at least you got to serve, though. That was the thing. Like, they didn't even let me in. They were like, no, sorry.
Well, he's a vet.
Yes.
Does 3.5 months count?
3.5, you know,
no.
We have our, right.
Okay, but you will never hear us, because even our family is full of Marines. You know, I have a nephew who's a sniper instructor now. He served out a bunch of terms. Like, you will never hear us badmouth, and we will get on people who badmouth. You know what I mean?
Hey, I do volunteer work at the VA.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Nice.
Both do. So yeah, it's
pushing carts. Nothing wrong with that.
No,
man. Thank you guys, for real, man.
Oh no, thank you, because that's what it'd be like. You know, people that say, "Oh, why would they do that?" Sheep, this and then the other. They do that so that you can sit here and call them sheep and live your life. Otherwise, you don't know what's going to happen or who's going to take over if there's nobody to defend us. So, might want to wrap that around your little minds next time before you start sending out tweets and hate and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, man.
That's all I'm saying. I'm trying not to get mad about it. I'm like, All right. So, and then obviously that brings us into the next question. And again, and thank you again just for defending the country, for doing all that, for talking about all that. Because I wanted people to see who, you know, everybody knows you're from like TVs and stuff. Maybe people don't know these stories. We want people to know the man too. Because I know the man a little bit, and he's cool as hell. You need to know this. I didn't know that either. I would have.
Barber college is cool.
And he was through here. Hey, hook me up. You know, there's nothing there.
Can you make the scruff look good?
Of course we can.
That's
a little bit, and hey, you good to go. Got a little fibers, something I can put in there. You get good.
Hey, I almost got a tattoo from the Undertaker. I can get a shave from a professional.
That would be cool.
I've never had a real razor shave.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I've never been able to have one. One of the haircut places around here, Sports Clips, they offer it, but I've never had a beard at that time. So that's one of my goals in life, is to actually have an actual razor shave.
Oh yeah,
by somebody else with the foam all over the face and the.
Right, exactly. That's it.
It is pretty nice.
I've heard they're amazing.
It really is. It really is. I've been like barbershops, got my stuff shaved.
Well, lucky you.
When I had hair, you know.
I went to a barber when I was a kid. He chopped my ear.
That's another show. So I think I know this, but for people that don't, when did the acting bug actually bite you? Because you know you had all this stuff going on, went to school, became a captain, became a barber, the whole nine. When did all of a sudden like acting come into the picture?
You know what? That is so crazy, because like when I tell people this story, it's like, wow, like that really happened. But
I wish I had popcorn. Just go
on. Well, okay. During my undergrad, right? I went to West Virginia State University. And during that time, I think it was 90, 94, 95 or something like that, they were filming the movie We Are Marshall. And in Huntington. And so, you know, me being in school down there, I wanted to go and be an extra. I wanted to see what it was like to be on a movie set, you know, especially with it being so close to us. And so I would skip class and I would go to Huntington and be an extra. And so I did that. I ended up being upgraded to a stand-in. So I was able to see Matthew McConaughey and Anthony Mackie and some of those guys do like their thing. And I was like, wow, this is so exciting. Like, that is what's up. I want to do that. So I went back to school the next quarter. I enrolled in the acting class and I got through the class, but during the end of the quarter, it was time to do the 3 to 5 minute monologue. And I completely bombed.
Oh.
I was freaked out. I couldn't, the whole public and speaking and the whole talking in front of, like, I was like, no, that is not for me. And so I took the class the next quarter. I got a D and I was like, you know what? I'm done. Acting is not for me. Okay, let me move on. So, you know, then I had ended up, you know, during that time, you know, I had my first tour, and then I got out, and then I came back to undergrad, and that's when I got my degree and went on and became an officer. So I came in 2009. So from that time, like as far as briefing commanders and generals and colonels, and you know, starting to talk in front of people and you know, and address the formation and stuff like that, I became a little bit more confident with talking in front of people and being able to, you know, get my point across and stuff like that or whatever out loud, you know, to people. And so my first deployment. No. It was my second deployment. My second deployment in 2010. You know, we went over there, and I was in the gospel choir while I was there. And lo and behold, the gospel choir director, he was a playwright. So he said, you know what? I want to do a play here before we go home. And so I was like, okay. So we had to audition, and I auditioned, and I got the lead role as best friend. But when you're deployed, right, you get to go home, and then you go home and you end up, you go home for 2 weeks, but sometimes that trip can last 21 days or up to, because of the travel and all this other stuff. So the lead had went home, and while he went home, I was his understudy. And so I had to start, you know, filling in his role, and the lead female and I had so much chemistry. And we went so well together. So by the time he got back, it was too late for him to actually learn all his part as the lead. So he took on my role and I took on his. And so we did it. And a lot of people was just like, during the rest of the deployment, people were coming up to me and just telling me how well I did and what you know, because it was a gospel play, and, you know, how it touched them and things of that nature. And so I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that was pretty cool. Like, I like that. So then I came back home from deployment, and the church I was going to, there was a retiring lieutenant colonel, and she was a playwright. So she had a play audition, and I wanted to just go and help out. So I wanted to go and, you know, lend my hand. And so she was like, I want you to audition. And so I auditioned, and I got the lead role in that play. And so we did it a couple times. And each time, you know, everybody would tell me once again, like, you're so good, you're so good. They really, at that time, they really didn't believe that I was a lieutenant in the Army. They thought I was an actor. And I was like, you know, I'm like, no, I'm a lieutenant in the Army. And so, yeah, so they was just like, you really should think about acting. So that's when I did. I started to, you know, come back and forth to Atlanta and, you know, do extra work. And then extra work moved up to independent films, and then independent films moved up to getting an agent. And the rest is history. I got out the Army because I had the bug, you know, and I was just like, a lot of my battle buddies, you know, they were like, dude, you're a captain. You're a captain with 11 years. Why are you getting, you know what I'm saying? You're getting paid. Why are you getting out to pursue something in which you have no idea if it's going to work out for you?
Right.
And I was, you know, I just had lost the love for the Army, so to speak. and I was just done. And so I would when I would come up and do extra work in Atlanta and then come back here. No, it was when I was doing the independent films. So I'm in independent films and they shoot on the weekend. So I would come up here, I would film and feel so alive and feel so free. And then I would go home back into Captain Jones mode. And it was just like, why am I here? Just so mundane. Like, I don't want to do this, you know? And so I was just like, yeah, I'm done. And that is
it's kind of like feeling caged up, and all of a sudden acting sets you free, and then you're supposed to go back to the cage. It's like, I don't know if I can, you know?
Right. Yeah, man. Exactly. You know, once I got out, not knowing anything about acting, I went to SCAD and I got my MFA in performing arts. And so once I did that, so really, you know, I've only really been acting full time since 2016. Yeah. So, you know.
But I mean, you've been in a lot of stuff since 2016 now.
I had a pretty decent start, you know.
You really did. I mean, even some of the stuff I was like, wait a minute, he was in that too? Oh my God. Like like I knew about some stuff, but when I started, well, you know, like I said, my wife was kind of doing a deep dive, and she was like, look at all this stuff he was in. I'm like, wow, we gotta go back and watch that.
I'm planning on watching Rampage tonight.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool movie. It's definitely.
Oh yeah, I love Rampage, man.
I love that movie. Okay, so it's your turn for the question. Right?
Okay. What was the audition process like to land the role of Traitor, and how was your experience on set?
To land the role of Traitor, it wasn't really that hard. It was pretty much a video audition. And yeah, that was pretty much it. There was no callback or anything for Traitor. And I think like Traitor was just really supposed to be, I think, in that one episode, episode 3. And
the prison.
maybe two, maybe episode 3 and 4, you know, but it wasn't really he wasn't really going to do much of anything. So I don't think they invested too much into the audition process in regards to Traitor.
Wow.
I really didn't know that I was even going to go and be back on The Gifted on episode 10. So it was just they was just day by day with it, I guess. But being on set, man, was really cool, man. I mean, I mean, Sean and Blair and just like all those guys, man, they were really fun. You know, Jamie's so cool. Jamie's so cool, man. I just love her. She has such a sweet spirit and, you know, personality, and oh man, I just love her energy and everything. And so yeah, man, being on set with those guys, it was fun. You know, we would always.
I know everybody talks about Sean. Everybody talks about Blair.
Man.
I was going to say, he did have one good scene with Amy Ecker. I know he didn't get to say much because he's laying on a table.
No, we were going to get to that because that was what I was going to say. It was like, I know if they didn't have a whole lot of plans for Traitor, it certainly didn't look like it in season 1, because that whole thing of Traitor being shot and you know, Caitlin and the kids trying to work on him to save him when the rest of the mutants in the hub are just, you know, knowing who they are, kind of looking at him like, I don't know, I don't trust these people. Maybe we should kick them out. Yeah, like if it weren't for Traitor, they would have probably gotten thrown out or worse. I mean, he was. So it seemed like such a pivotal character, at least at the beginning.
Yeah, it wasn't a direct role, but you were there for like a big initial coming together of the family and the underground, and it's like, wow, you just kind of get to stare up at them as this is going on above you. That had to have been awesome.
But still, it felt like such a big role for you, being in that spot where you're hurt and these mutants are all looking at, you know, Caitlin and the kids like, I don't think they should be here. They don't belong. And they see, you know, them save you, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, maybe they're cool. Like if not, who knows what would happen? You were
the hall pass.
Yeah, man. You know, I oh my goodness, I really didn't understand that either, because you know, I had kind of thought with, like you said, everything that they put into saving me, you know, because it was like, you know, I think at one point they were going to leave me for dead, you know, when I did get shot. But then like they had risked everything to come back and get me and make sure that, you know, Blink and I got through the portal and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And so then with the operation, you know, I was just like, okay, they're not just gonna try and put forth all this effort to save me for nothing, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly what we thought watching it. Was like between, you know, you getting shot and them, you know, coming back and risking their lives to save you, and then Caitlyn and everything working as hard as they did, Andy giving you blood. You know, we thought, man, this character is going to be pivotal going forward. And then all of a sudden it was just poof, he's gone. And we saw you again in episode 10. We were like, yay! And then poof, and it was like, wait, what just happened?
Right. I you know, I have formulated all type of ideas in my head, man. You know, once I got Andy's blood, I was just like, you know, they're one of the most powerful mutants. Now his blood is
that was
yeah, we did talk about the struck
back
of blood.
in season 2. Even though you were in the show, we had a question from our viewers asking if Mutant Underground had an ace in the hole, and you would come back and retweet that saying, well, you know, don't leave Traitor out. I mean, he does have the Fenrir's blood running through his veins, so that's kind of a big deal. And it was really, could you imagine like a character that could turn invisible and use Andy's power at the same time?
Right.
Like in season 2, Reva would have never seen Traitor coming, and then she just would have been stuff on the wall.
Exactly. You know, I was thinking the same thing, and I'm just like, why did they, you know, what happened? But you know what? I think I don't know if this has anything to do with it. You know, nothing was said to me personally, but me going from when I got shot in the whole operation, like not even coming to check on me or whatever. Any of that time between episode 4 and 10, I'm just like, you know, I figured my role was done. I was done with the Gifted, and you know, I got those 2 episodes, and I was cool. So that's when I had started filming The Hate You Give at that time, and so they wanted a different look for The Hate You Give. And when I was shooting that, the guys from The Gifted called me in and was just like, hey, we want you back for another episode.
Oh, wow. And you're like, wait, what?
I'm doing this project, so I can't. So when I got there, they were like, you know, you don't have the haircut. You don't have, you know, because like they couldn't cut my hair on set. I had got it cut prior to coming to set, and it was already, you know, cut. And so it was like, you don't have a haircut. You don't have your, you know, your goatee. You got a full beard. Like, what are we gonna do? No, I went down to the goatee for The Hate You Give, and I you know, I don't grow facial hair that fast. So they was just like, well, you don't have this and you don't have that. So I don't know if they kind of got upset with me, but seeing as how I was already there for episode 10, they made it work, and what they did made sense. Because if I'm supposed to be out for 6 episodes, I would have grown in all this hair. I wouldn't have a fresh haircut. You know what I'm saying? And so that, in a sense, I feel like that made it make sense. But I don't know if they wanted that Traitor look back or whatever for that episode, and seeing as how I didn't have that, I don't know if that like was like, okay, well, we brought him back, and then like that was it, because like I wasn't even a part of the escape, you know, from the underground. And I'm just like, how it didn't make sense.
No, it really didn't. And you know, even if they were mad at you, like, I don't want to knock them, because don't get me wrong, I love the show, I love the cast, you know, the whole 9, but you know, what were they expecting you to do? Just kind of sit around by the phone and wait for them to call you again? Like, oh, I hope, you know. If you get a role, what are you going to do? You got to pursue it. It's like if I have a chance to interview you and somebody comes through and says, oh, we want you to do this show or whatever. It's like, no, I already said I was going to do this. I'll get with you later, but I'm not just going to sit here and wait for people to call my name out or want me to guest host something. I'm going to go do me first. So I can't blame you for, you know, going to find another role and then still being loyal enough to come back when they called. So they can be mad, but what are they mad about? You know what I'm saying?
Not your fault.
Normally how it works is if they feel like you're going to do something, you know, a future episode or something like that, and that would mean that they have the whole season scripted already. So if they feel like you're going to be in a future episode, they would pin you for those dates.
Right.
So that would mean that you make yourself available to only them, to only that production. So they never did that. I never got that. So that, like I said, after that episode 4, I was like, okay, well, I'm done. I didn't, they didn't call me back for 5 or 6. And I was like, well, I'm knowing the shoot schedule pretty much. I'm knowing about which episode that they're on. And so I never got that call. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to, take this up the job. And that's just what I had to do.
I get paid.
Yeah, exactly. I got to be, I got to be honest. Like when season 2 was premiering, we were all excited, and I was talking about it, and I saw you come on Twitter, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see it. You're like, yeah, they didn't bring me back. What? Are you kidding me? They never wrote him off. They never showed him. Like Trader never died. He never had anything happen to him. He just wasn't there. It's like, why not?
And he would have been so useful in the clinic. Like when the inspection people come in, he can hide this and
he just get his stuff.
Hey, the green chick over there. Okay, it's just a wall.
Like get behind me. Okay.
Right. And I think what it was is they kind of wanted to. Well, no, them bringing me back was against what the comic book as far as the Morlocks stated, because he died, because Trader did die in that. Well, did he die in the sewer? I think he did die in the sewer that time, in the Morlocks comics. So I don't know if they wanted to keep it true to the comics as far as Trader dying and not really lasting long. But then again, it's just that's the world of TV.
That's the thing. They even had the Morlock Massacre episode. So Trader could have died in that if they were going to. They'd already killed Shatter, which that was sad.
Yeah. I think that, I don't know. I would have loved to see The Gifted get another season. And kind of, because the fan base was consistent, the fan base was steady, so I don't understand, why they didn't get that chance. Because just me being me, especially with them going and going down in the sewers and dealing with Erg, I'm like, okay, that's another Morlock, that's another, so it's just Trader could still probably come back.
That's what I was thinking too.
Always had hope, to get back on the show. But it's like when it comes to episodic, like you said, in the initial family structure when I was a part of, it's like people want to see that structure develop, right, in episodic TV. But when you keep bringing these other players in for 2 or 3 episodes and this player in, and then you're kind of expanding that world a little too much too fast. And people are just really trying to get to know this core group of people and see, how they develop and how they interact and how they deal with what they're going through. But The Gifted, they were just bringing in too much too fast, and they were giving them too many stories. Yeah. And so, that kind of made it hard, I guess, for people to follow in that aspect. And so, I think had they just stuck with that underground core and then having them deal with the things and certain villains and certain people, I think it would have went a little bit further. And what's crazy, I don't understand, is how, I don't know if it's the networks that Marvel TV shows deal with, because DC shows can last on the CW
forever.
I have the explanation, but I'm not going to say it.
But,
he's trying to keep it zipped. But you're right though. Those DC shows on CW, they go on no matter how bad they get.
Yes.
Do you read sign language? Do you read sign language? Oh, okay. It's a nice furry table animal with a big bushy tail, with cute little pointy ears that likes to hop and chase little birds and stuff. And then
I think he's on his own there. I'm not going. Well, yeah, I never understood that either. I know there's been a couple they had The Gifted on Fox, and they had a couple other shows what was this? But they had a couple other shows, even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still around. I don't know how that's possible. Final season this year, I'm like, really? It's still on? Honestly, sometimes it's still on? Really? I didn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it felt like with the Gifted, they also kind of cut it off where it was getting to a spot where like anything could happen. Because you saw like Blink's portal and all that when she came back, and they all went in, and you were like, man, anything could happen.
Come on, Days of Futures Past, Age of Apocalypse,
You know, they could have, especially with that Disney deal, they could have walked into that portal and like popped out in Endgame,
and like
you would have, yeah, exactly. You would have been like, wow, like this is what they mean by mutants in the MCU. Sweet.
Right. Yeah, man, that would have been nice.
Right, and it would make sense because they already kind of showed, one of the Von Struckers in the MCU. So why not have the next generation of Von Struckers pop up in a portal? It would tie things together pretty nice, Like we got ideas too. That's all. But yeah, I think we kind of got your answer to this question, which was, how did you react to the news of the Gifted being canceled? I think we covered that pretty closely already. So we'll let Phoenix answer the next question.
Okay. I got an easy one for once. To date, what is your most challenging role? Besides getting shot, because that's always tough.
You know what was crazy? Is that my most challenging role has been nothing mainstream. Has been nothing, big Hollywood. My most challenging role was an independent film called A Road Defined. And I had to play sort of a schizophrenic type. I had to play a schizophrenic, mean, like really, really mean husband and father. And and so going and doing that film and going into that deep of a dark place to film was rough. It was rough emotionally and in a tad bit mentally, because there was one scene, and I have some of the pictures of it posted on my IG. There was one scene where I had to choke out my wife, and I actually choked her to death. And she died in the chokehold in my arms. And like to play that role and to have that trust from my female actress, and just like after coming out of that, right, we needed like so much time, because it's just like for her to feel like she's being choked to death was something that she was like, it kind of messed her up for like a couple of days. She had to come out of that. She had to take a couple of days to come out of that.
All right, we're going to shoot this scene, but then me and her, we're going to take a trip to the Bahamas and chill on the beach with some Mai Tais for a little while.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And this, like I said, this guy was really, he was really mean. And that was a really, really good film, especially for it to be an independent film. That was a really, really good film. I loved it. I loved shooting it because like it was a period piece. So it dated back to, I think, like the 40s or 50s. And we actually had the cars and the homes that kind of felt like that, the wardrobe, like, oh man, it was a really, really good film.
Like, so I want to find this film.
Yeah, I'm like, we gotta watch this one.
Again, I'm like, I gotta see that.
But I mean, it's good. You have range, and that's definitely a good thing.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And you can play tough roles. Might need to recoup for a little while afterwards, but
yeah, because I don't know if I could even do that, let alone what I would feel like afterwards. Because like, I'm not the guy that puts hands on a woman. I'm the guy that beats the guy that puts hands on the woman. So that would just mess me all up.
And then too, it's like to even see it, like of course, me knowing the moment that I was in it and being able to see and know what's going to come up in this scene, and to see it and see what they did, because like they had my wife foaming at the mouth.
Oh wow.
They had her pee going down her leg, and like the intensity of the scene.
Like yeah, they got real with it.
Yeah, man. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God.
wish you could see it. I wish you could see it. Like
I
the
will
director,
find it.
Yeah, the director, he had actually posted it on Facebook, and I shared it, and I did a watch party of it when he had posted it. So yeah, it's on Facebook. It's on Facebook. It's on Facebook somewhere. You can definitely see it.
I'll definitely look it up when I get a chance.
We're friends on Facebook. No, wait a minute. You follow my, because I know you be tagging me in my Facebook page.
Yeah, like your actual
for the show
acting page. I tagged with some
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
You know, just to let people know we were doing this. I don't know if I'm actually a friend with you on Facebook or not. I know I was with Anissa because I could just message her and be like, "Hey, you free?" Oh, but yeah, it did feel like, at least with the Gifted, characters like yours and hers had so much potential, and they were just like, nah, like you said, we're gonna go focus on like 12 stories at the same time. And it's like, no, put something into these characters, and the show will be great. You know, because if you're gonna have a show about mutants, maybe you feature the mutants. That's all I'm saying.
Especially the ones, like, at least we did get to see your powers on screen.
Yeah.
Whereas with Anissa, they didn't. Her physical mutation was visible, but you didn't get to see the whatever she could do.
Oh yeah, like physically, the porcelain and everything. That was wild looking stuff. But you never got to really see her do anything outside of run from prison.
Oh, you know, advice.
And another thing with that is, I kind of feel like, as far as even with Shadow's character, like I think Shadow's character could have been one that could have faded into the black had his appearance not been so cool and not been so like his appearance being cool created that fan base of, who is Shatter and what can Shatter do. So that anticipation kind of kind of like allowed the audience to kind of his fan base and his audience to remain, because everybody wanted to see and know what he could do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can I mean, if you go back, there's episodes where you see Trader and Trader says nothing. Like
right, and even with Shatter, he didn't speak till like the 6th or 7th episode, and he was in all of them. He didn't say a word.
Right. Yeah, it's like they didn't know what to do with Shatter. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know, like, okay, do we actually get this guy a story? Like, they were scared to give him a story for whatever reason. I don't understand until almost the last episode of season 1 where you see his powers, and
when they're trying to get out of the building.
Only good episode to where, as far as when it came with seeing his powers and him having dialogue, all this stuff, like, and I'm just like, that was
some of his best lines, and some of the only time that you see his powers are basically in that episode where he gives the speech to Reed, and then he goes and fights the Purifiers and ends up getting killed. And that was that. And I was like, are you kidding me? There were so many people in season 1 who were asking, like, who is Shatter? What is Shatter? And I've been reading Morlock's comics since I was probably 10, 11 years old. So I would start telling people, like, who he was, how he mutated, what he could do. And they were like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this on the show. I'm like, I know. And then all of a sudden I'd be getting like, at Mutant Rejects, how come they're not using Shatter? I was like, I don't know. You got to ask them. Don't ask me. I'm just telling you what he can do, because I've read his story. I know. And that was part of how we got Jermaine on in season 1 too, because he saw me kind of explaining Shatter, and I started a little, hashtag campaign for him to, like, let Shatter speak, And he was like, man, what you guys want to actually, like, sit down and do an interview, because I'm actually supposed to talk in this next episode, so you could be the ones to break it. I'm like, oh yes, please. I was so happy. He named me an honorary Morlock and everything. I was like, I still love that guy. Shout out to Jermaine, another vet. We thank you too. But yeah, it was such a cool character, like visually, and even the story behind it. Another one that they kind of like, again, we're going to focus on 12 stories instead. Why?
Yeah.
All right. Now, obviously, during the couple of seasons of The Gifted, they got a lot of criticism from, like, hardcore Marvel fans or comic book fans saying this wasn't this is retcon, that isn't canon, or this didn't happen, or this and that. And you were also in another project that got, like, highly criticized when it came out, unfairly, by the way, and that's Venom. Did you ever see, like, the stuff that people were spewing, and how did you feel when you saw that, being a part of both these projects?
I didn't really see a lot of the critiques or view. What are they called? I didn't see a lot of the stuff that went on as far as in regards to Venom. But I did see, a few of them, and I was just like, people aren't really giving the movie a chance. I think it's better than a lot of you are think better than a lot of you think, because I guess because it wasn't in the Spideyverse, at the time, it's like, how could that happen? You know what I'm saying? When you would think that Venom is a part of Spider-Man,
right?
But I don't know. I didn't really. I guess I wasn't as, because of the role that I had in Venom, I wasn't as vested into what was being said about Venom.
That's true. No, I'm with you, because even when it came out and we reviewed Venom and everything else, like, people have been criticizing, and I was like, I said the same thing. Like, you really need to get this movie a chance, because every now and then I still watch it. I think it's a damn good movie. They came up with a good story, even though he wasn't in the Spider-Verse. The effects were great. Like, the cast was great. You were great. It was good. It was a good movie.
It does have a tie into Spider-Verse. There is J. Jonah Jameson and his son. They were in it.
Yeah, that's true.
So
they came up with as good a storyline as they could, trying to focus on that character and not make him, and not have Spidey come through.
I'm looking more forward to Carnage.
Yeah, Carnage in the second one. Oh my God.
That better have an NC-17 rating.
I hope so. I hope so.
If they want to go anywhere near the comic, it's NC-17.
And I'm one of those guys that loves Woody Harrelson too, so I'm just waiting to see that. That's going to be some crazy.
He's
stuff.
already kind of played a Carnage type character in Natural Born Killers.
Okay, good point.
Mickey Knox.
All right, so do you want to ask the next question?
Let's see. Do you have any upcoming projects that we can look forward to once things go back to normal? Like once we get out of quarantine and life hopefully returns to normal?
Hopefully I do. Hopefully I do. I kind of sometimes, like, when you film stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Especially at my level. You don't really know if your scene is going to make the movie or not. So
I've hit the cutting room floor twice.
Right. Yeah.
Me too.
It's like, you don't really put stuff out there until you either see it for the first time, or me. I don't put anything out there until I possibly go do ADR, which is your post sound, because if they bring you in for post sound, then 9 times out of 10, you're in the movie. And so, but I honestly think that the scene that I have and the role that I played on this movie is going to make the film. I so feel it, and it's a movie called The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be out on Christmas Day, but I don't know, like, with everything with the virus and everything being pushed back. But we did finish filming it, and so everything was in post. So I'm pretty sure that they probably continue to edit and continue to, do as much post work on it as they possibly can to have a Christmas release date.
Yeah, I know a lot of post-production stuff has just been cut off with all the quarantines and that type of stuff, and rightfully so. Like, it's a little rough that we've waited like 3 months for like finales of The Walking Dead, but it's better off that way at the same time. You don't want to get anybody sick over a TV show. At the same time, it's just a TV show, or it's just a movie. But yeah. I mean, we'll keep to we're hoping Christmas Day, because that does sound kind of cool.
Chris Pratt, Star-Lord,
right?
Yes, Chris Pratt is Star-Lord. That's correct.
The not James Kirk.
And go back to a couple of the movies you were in. I got to ask, because I'm a huge fan of both of them, and I love the movie Rampage. My wife and I watched that a lot, and what was it like just to be on the scene and be able to work with guys like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, like I said, Walking Dead, huge fan, and The Rock. I mean, Dwayne Johnson.
Man, I get that a lot because of that scene, and I only got to see The Rock in passing, and he was actually in the van. I was headed to set that day, and he was actually in the van leaving, and I was just coming out of wardrobe or whatever. And so I really didn't get to work with him or Jeffrey Dean Morgan. However, just the set of Rampage. Oh my goodness, that scene that I did was awesome. It brought up so many Army memories and stuff because we were out there. It was almost like we were sort of playing capture the flag. We had the blanks, the rounds going. We had the bombs going. Oh man, it was just like it took me back, and I was like, that was like one thing that I always said I wanted to do. You know what? It's crazy. Like I said, I mean, the things that I've done as far as my career thus far, it's crazy because like when I was at SCAD, one of my professors, she was like, okay, well, when you graduate or when what would you like to do in the industry? What would be like your dream role or dream, show or something like that? Oh, I think y'all got it. Yeah, it's crazy because like I had said that I wanted to be an X-Men, and that was one of my dreams. Oh, y'all was frozen. Y'all was hello.
Hey, we're here. Sorry about that. So you were saying your dream was to be an X-Men. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like when I was at SCAD, that's one of the our professors. She was like, okay, well, state what job you want or what role you will want. Just to kind of like your dream role, and that's what it was. It was to be an X-Men and to get booked on The Gifted so soon. I was like, I done completed my acting dream. Like there's nothing
right,
else.
There it is. I'm gonna have to come up with another dream now because check that one off.
Yeah, right. And then with Rampage, my thing was I wanted to mirror my two careers, my two lifelong things. And that's being in the Army and now an actor. I wanted to, play that role in a TV show or on a movie, and I did. I got to do that, and I was just like, man, like, dude, sweet.
And you could certainly see that in the scene too. That was crazy. That whole thing. It was just like you could definitely see you just mirroring all of that, putting it all together. It was like that's so cool.
Question: do you speak Spanish?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Because this guy right here, Sunspot. I can't point on my shirt. That guy from X-Force. Yeah. You look like him, kind of from the comics, but he's he's Latino.
Oh, okay. That was a nice rando to throw in there real quick.
See, I never wanted to be an X-Men. I wanted to be X-Force.
Gotcha.
A little more closed fist than open hand.
I wouldn't mind either one.
Plus, you got cat people and.
But no, it's pretty cool that you're able to say like, okay, that was my dream. Check. Okay, next dream. Check.
Yeah.
That's great. It's like, people always say like, oh, I dreamed of it, but it was just a dream. No, like you can make that kind of stuff happen. He did.
Exactly. And that's my thing, man. My thing is like, you have a plan, you write it down and you have a dream, like you got to turn that dream into a goal. Mm-hmm. Give yourself something to achieve. Like if you just keep it as a dream, then it's just going to stay in your head. It's not going anywhere. Right. You turn it into a goal and you make a plan to achieve that goal, then, you about 75% of the way there. So make it happen.
Yeah, amen to that. I mean, yeah, you get in these roles, man, where you get in these like all-star casts, because like the last thing I wanted to bring up was like The Hate You Give, because that had everybody in it, like Anthony Mackie, Regina Hall, Common, the whole night, like people that you see everywhere, all at one spot. When you came onto that set, did that like intimidate you at all, or were you kind of like trying not to be, like the fan also working on the movie? You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, it's so and so. Like, or I worked with Anthony Mackie back then. There he is.
Yeah. And I actually did remind him of that. You know what I'm saying? He kind of remembered vaguely, but not so much, because like he was real cool with his stand-in. And so, he kind of remember vaguely, not so much, but yeah, I think when getting booked for those type of roles, when there is a significance, to the film or to the TV show, I feel that the professionals that be expect us to be as professional as they are. So it's just like, you cannot go to set and be like, all fanboy, fangirl. You can't, it's like, oh, you're here to do your job. You're here to, play your part or be your piece of the story. And then like that's it. If you make friends or you form bonds, then so be it. And so it's just like, at that point, it's like, okay, they expect us to be professional. And so you got to do it, and it's like, and you have your time to maybe fangirl or fanboy, like at the rap party or something like that.
Yeah.
You can, take the pictures and, be like, oh man, I'm such a fan or this, that, and the other. But like, when you're on that set, it's like, okay, you're just as, you may not have that star rating, but you're in this show or you're on this movie and you're going to help carry just as they're going to help carry.
Right.
So, you gotta kind of see yourself as an equal, so to say.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not an actor, because if I were in the same room with Regina Hall, there's no way I'd be able to keep quiet.
Yeah, I love Regina Hall too. She's great.
It ain't happening.
She's great.
Common for that matter too.
Even Common, like, I don't care, hip hop movies, like, I love that guy. Like, I absolutely adore that guy. I don't know if I'd be able to be like, dude, because even people ask me when I do stuff like this with you, we're like, we have a hip hop group we're interviewing next week, and people that I do these shows with who haven't interviewed people are like, aren't you nervous? Aren't you scared? Aren't you worried you're going to say something or freak out or whatever? And I'm like, and I kind of give them the same answer. It's like, no, because you gotta have that level where you're just being professional, and when you have to look at it like you're on that level, get that confidence of like, I'm Jordan with the game on the line. I can't miss, you got to have that. And people say, well, actors freak out at times, or they see people and and they're fans too. They're like, they probably do, but they probably don't show that. And you just prove that.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, like, once everything wraps, you come up to people and you're like, yo. But until then, it's like, all right, gotta put my face on. Let's do this.
And they actually appreciate that. They actually appreciate the fact that when you're on set, when you are working, you can be that professional. You can be that person that they can talk to, just as they talk to anyone else, and not have to worry about you. Kind of like being the fan. You're at that sense. You're a coworker. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's just like, you're equal. So. Yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear you. It's just, it'd be tough for me, honestly, on that set of The Hate You Give. Like, with all the, like, I love Regina Hall, love Common, I love so many people in that movie. Even with Rampage, I'd be like, oh my God, it's The Rock! Like, dude, collaborate with me right quick.
The tough show for me, though, to be honest with you, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. The tough show for me was Shots Fired.
Oh yeah.
And I say Shots Fired because I am in love with Sanaa Lathan. Like, oh my goodness. And so Sanaa, Shots Fired was my first big television show. And I had just finished a SCAD. That summer, that was my first television show, and I booked it. And like, my first scene, my first day on set, I had to do a fight scene with Sanaa Lathan.
Wow.
And that means, like, I had to touch her. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, that was the day I was like, my life was made. I'm like, I'm done.
I was like, am I dreaming? Let me pinch myself right quick. I get to touch her.
Exactly. That was so awesome, man. That was that job for me.
Oh man, no, I appreciate that. I don't blame you either. I'd be the same way. Like, what? I get to do that? Like,
yeah.
Oh, word. Okay.
Me, I played it cool. I'm like, hey.
Oh yeah, of course.
Let's do this.
Of course, you play it cool. Like, hey, how you doing? And inside, you're just like, wow, holy shit, this is gonna be great. I get to touch that. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
And and like they had a stunt double for me that day, and the stunt coordinator when we was going over the fight, because of course they gotta they gotta flip flop you out with your stunt double, and
Right.
so that they can show your face in the camera during the scene, but yet all the actual fighting, you know. And so I did the stunt coordination so well that the stunt coordinator, he was like, "Do you just want to do your scene? Do you just want to do the fight?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
good." Yeah.
It's like, yes, I do. Yeah, I bet you were studying hard on that in that combat scene. Okay, what do I gotta do? Okay, I can do that. I got this. I got it all. You go away. Just go.
Yeah.
Go get a coffee. Go get some lunch. We don't need you.
Can we have another cake?
Yeah, I think I need another take. I wasn't quite.
Yeah, all that.
Oh my God, that's so great. That's so funny. That's so great. I appreciate you coming on and giving us all this time and answering all these questions. Like we've been dying to do this for a long time, especially me. And this was wonderful. If you do have anything that you want to plug or promote or anything, I'm gonna give you the floor for a minute and just let you fire away, and then we'll wrap this up. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Man, wow. So yeah, I first want to thank you for allowing me to come on your show, man. Like
Honored, honestly.
Actually, I think this is my first live podcast interviewers. Yeah, Zoom podcast interview, whatever this is. Yeah, this is the first.
YouTube shows / podcast.
Yeah, man. So all my social media handles is _@ D James J. It's on IG, Twitter. You know, if you want to follow me. Hey, if not, all my pages are open, so you can just come and check it out and peruse and stuff. And so, yeah, hopefully you guys will be seeing me on Christmas Day in a theater near you with Chris Pratt. Go check it out, The Tomorrow War. And hey, you guys be blessed. Stay safe out there. Stay safe out there. With this pandemic going on, and man, once again, thank you.
Oh, no problem. We were honored to have you, man. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you doing this. And for anybody who's just listening now, because you might have heard that D was going to be on the show, and or watching us on YouTube, you can follow us at Mutant Rejects on Twitter. You can look for us on Facebook. Just search for Mutant Rejects, the Gifted Podcast, because they won't let us change the name, and we don't want to anyway. So, and of course, you can find all our podcasts at anchor.fm/FoxDen. It'll bring up all our episodes. It'll show you where all our platforms are at. We're adding platforms every day. In fact, we just got on iHeartRadio before I turned to start this interview. So yay, growing this empire, getting it bigger, getting it out there to more people, more countries, more everything. And once again, we want to thank D. James Jones so much for coming on and doing this, and for the fabulous Phoenix, for the man who played Traitor, even for my wife who must have fell asleep with my son. I don't know what happened. We want to say enjoy your Memorial Day, be responsible, show some love to some vets, and from there I'm just going to let Stan take us out, because I will always love that man.
But until next time, true believers, Excelsior!